likes to watch out for the cameras.
Are we on stage? It's all good, yeah?
Yeah, we are on stage.
We're on stage. Hello, Cody. Hello, Kim. How's it going, guys? Can you hear us well? We were having a problem with our microphone here. Can I get a confirmation, please, from you guys? Morning, everyone. Hello, team. Awesome. Can you guys hear me well? Audio's all good. Perfect. Thank you. All righty. So how about Joe's thing not coming up yet? I can't see Joe in here. That camera here. I can only see myself.
Yeah, there we go.
Where? Oh, you're searching. Yeah. Okay. So how this works. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Eddie. We created a bit of stress for Eddie this morning. We changed the format on him with 2.5 minutes notice. Not very advisable. All right. Welcome, everyone, anyway, and thank you for taking the time. We've got a few minutes to get going. I'll just keep you company in the meantime. I hope you're having an awesome morning, no matter where you are. Today, we're going to be talking about the org chart, which is really, really cool topic. And I'm joined today with a couple of people from Martian Logic, more than the usual, and there's a reason for that. We're joined with Chris. First of all, with Lewis sitting next to me here on the same camera. Can we see Lewis? Hello. Lewis is our head of implementation, and I wanted to bring Lewis in case you guys are interested in trialing the org chart. He can help you to create a sandbox for you, a test account completely separate from your account, and help you to import some of your sample data, some of your employee data, so you can really have a play in a safe environment where you know it's not affecting your current data. We're doing that with a lot of our clients. Think of it as a live trial with your own data. So also we're joined with Chris, our head of support, who's sitting next to Joe over there, and Joe from business development. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
So the setup is pretty cool in here. We're all in the same room. It's called the podcast room. Can you switch to my camera?
No.
What?
It's these two.
Yeah.
These two cameras.
Oh, okay. It's not the camera on the laptop. Sorry, we've got cameras. This is a pretty sophisticated setup here in the podcast room. We've got actual cameras like podcast cameras. So they're fixed cameras. Nevertheless, we're in the same podcast room and there's the 5 of us in here. And we're really excited to talk to you about the org chart today. We're just going to wait for a couple of minutes to get more people to get on. We've had about 75, 80 people that registered. So we're hoping to get about 40 people. People do get busy and pull out at the last sort of minute, but we should get about 40 people or so.
Coming up on 20 now. So.
Very good. Excellent. Thanks for jumping on, guys. If you've just joined, I was just saying we'll get started in a minute. We're very excited to talk to you about the org chart today. The org chart import in particular, this is really actually focused on the import, and therefore, if you want to have a go at it yourself to trial it as a proper live trial, our implementation team, and Lewis is sitting next to me, who heads our implementation team, and even our support, Chris sitting next to Joe over here. The reason I brought them to this meeting is because they'd be more than happy to create a sandbox account completely separate from your own account, and show you. You will be able to then, even as a matter of fact, that's why we're having this webinar, I'll be able to show you how easy it is to be able to import your own data in that sandbox and have a play with the org chart and see if this actually can add value, and if you want to therefore sign up to it. So that's why we're going to be focusing on the import, because no matter how good the org chart product is, if you can't import your own data into it, quickly enough without being a major drama and taking 6 months, then there's no point, right? We invested a lot of time in the import tool. It's really, really cool, as you'll hopefully agree with me soon. So that's the agenda that we've got in here. Don't stress too much about the agenda. It's really all about the import. There's only one thing to talk about here, and it's very, very cool. So I guess we should get started. To get started, as you can see, guys, on the screen, on your screen, you should have the icebreaker survey question thing. If you don't mind addressing it, that would be amazing. If you can just have a go at it. What's it about, Eddie?
So if you could swap lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be? So we've got Harry Potter, Wonder Woman, Sherlock Holmes, SpongeBob, and Superman.
Eddie came up with this one. Maybe we should have a survey about if you like this question. No, I think I would do. I don't know. Between Sherlock Holmes and between Harry Potter, I can't decide. How about you, Lewis?
Live under the sea, I think.
C. What's the C? Sherlock Holmes as well. Okay. And Eddie, what would you choose?
Probably SpongeBob.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I'll go with Lewis.
SpongeBob as well.
Yeah, I'll probably go SpongeBob.
Awesome. Oh, you said Lewis as in Sherlock Holmes, not SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say?
The whole thing.
You said C, A, B, C.
No, I
Under
live
the sea.
under the sea. That's fine.
Oh my God. Okay. I completely missed that one. Alrighty. So 3 minutes past, let's get going. Thank you for your patience with us. I definitely wanted deliberately to use a few minutes to allow for more people to jump on, but I can't waste your time anymore. Let's get going. So I'm going to share my screen. Am I sharing my screen? Not yet. Share your screen. Okay. This one. Perfect. So actually, I'm going to share the whole thing because I want you to see the file that I'm uploading and all that stuff. Oh, sorry, I'll just do the share again, guys. One sec. Start sharing entire screen. All right, that's better. Cool. So I'm logged onto this account that I've created specifically for this purpose. It's what we call Sandbox. The account is called ML Org Chart Webinar. And as you can see at the moment, it's pretty much empty. There's nothing in the position library. There's nothing in the org chart. And there's nothing in the employee search, in the employee database. So we're starting from scratch. And that's what I was talking about before, guys. If you, after this webinar, if you're interested in having a play yourself, Chris or Lewis, we would be more than happy to create a Sandbox account for you, an empty account like this, completely separate from your own account, and that so you can have a play and import your own data and see how it all works. Alrighty, so I'm going to go to the org chart, and it's empty. I can just click on Start Building here, or I can just go into the cogwheel and click on Import. Either way, it'll go to the same place, which is this pop-up in here. This account, I've been testing all the import with it, as you can see. So I've got a lot of history in the importing. I've been importing, guys, and then deleting, importing, deleting, just to make sure it's all working smoothly. So that's the, every time you do an import, we keep a track record here of who imported it and how many rows were imported, whether it finished or not successfully, and the date and time. So I'm going to click on a new import. Nevertheless, it doesn't make any difference. We've got this sort of playful page in here. I'm not sure if many of you had seen it. It's really cool. What we try to do, because you know when you're dealing with data in Excel spreadsheets, it's pretty intimidating. It's pretty boring. I mean, who wants to be doing that? So we're trying to make it a little bit playful. So the theme here is the org chart. Our org chart is pretty, I don't want to be, appear to be selling it, but it is pretty sophisticated. And what I mean by that, it's not just a simple, oh, look, Chris report to Anwar and, I don't know, Joe report to Chris or whatever, and this is the end of it. You can import all kind of data types or node types. If we call every element in that org chart a node, The node, there's multiple or different node types. For example, that node can be a vacant node, or it could be filled node. Also, it could be a simple node, what we call, which is some kind of placeholder, just has a name and nothing else. Or it can be also, that's a fifth type now of node, what we call a group node, which is a node that can have inside it multiple people. We'll talk about that, when we get to it. But nevertheless, you can see why we wanted to create different kind of stages. So if you're just new to it, you start with the beginner, and we explain to you quickly in here what the beginner is, and we allow you to download that file. It's a simple Excel file. It's got probably about 15 nodes or something in it, and then you're able to upload it as it is. Then you would go, okay, we're going to make some changes and upload it again, which we will do in a minute. But then you get your confidence built up a bit more. You go, I want to have a go at the intermediate. It's really the same Excel file. We add a few more rows into that Excel file, meaning a few more nodes. Every row is a node in your org chart, as you can imagine. And it will provide a bit more complexity, meaning the node type starts to become a bit more than just being, Chris reports to Anwar, a bit like the vacant node, and all these different node types will start to be introduced slowly. But really, it's the same Excel file. We're adding more to it. That's really all it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the expert. We explain here a little bit. It's got everything. The expert has got all the different node types. So we may as well start with that, and we'll have a look at it. So I'm going to download it here, and we're going to open it up and take a look at it. So we call this version 2.0, version 12. We'll start after 12. Cool, because I've got a few sitting in that same folder just to distinguish between them. So this is the fresh one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my Google Sheets. I'm going to create a new document, spreadsheet, and I'm going to open the one that we just downloaded. Upload, browse from my disk, version 12, we just downloaded. And let's take a look at what this all about, the file that we just downloaded, which is the sample file, the expert one. So this has got all different node types. We're going to go through it and explain what that is. So as you can see, it's got 34 rows in it. I'm just going to delete anything else, just to keep it nice and tight and easy to look at. Delete all the trailing rows. Oh, it didn't delete everything. How come? I'm not sure what I clicked on. I'll do it again. Give me a sec, guys. Delete selected rows. That's better. Okay, so this is the whole file. 34 nodes, 34 rows, which is 34 nodes. If we start from the top, we've got the first column in this Excel spreadsheet is the node type. So the simplest node type, as we explained before, is what we call here position name dash filled, meaning it's a filled position. And we have the position name provided. So if we look at this particular one here, the first one, we have a unique employee ID in here provided, which is alphabetic and numbers. Any combination is fine. Then you've got the first name, the last name, the email, and the work email for that particular person that lives in that node. Then we move into here, the node position third-party ID. It's not mandatory. It's the unique position, the ID for that unique position. So it's not mandatory. Well, let's go into what's more important here is the position name. So this person is the CEO, and this is also not mandatory. You're able to tag the particular unique position if you want to provide a tag. We built that feature for schools in particular. They wanted to be able to flag a particular position, unique position in their library, whether it's a primary or secondary or whatever, tag they want to provide against that position for them to be able to do reporting on or whatever reason. It's not mandatory either. So then we go into the report to. This is, of course, very important. In the case of the CEO, this is empty. And this is, as you can imagine, the only row in the entire spreadsheet, even if you've got 500,000 of them in here, that is allowed not to have a report to. That means it's going to sit at the top of the pyramid, what we call the parent node, or the top parent. And then in here, we've got additional stuff. We were able, because it's the expert file, it's got very interesting information to give you an idea about what you can import. So you can import all the remuneration information. This happened to be permanent full-time, so therefore this is the annual salary in here. And we provide also how many hours per week for the FTE hours, and the fact that it's weekly. So 38 hours per week is the basis for the permanent full-time employment. Then we've got here the start date, if that was in terms of when they first started. But at the moment, we're reserving that start date and end date if it's a contract, as you will see in a sec. If we go into the second one here, the second row, it's Yuang here. And we've got Yuang Yum, and this is their contact details. Then we move quickly to the report to. The report to, which is, they report to the CEO, and they that's their name here. Report to full name. So the report to position name and the report to full name. That's what's provided to make that accurate enough for us to know who that person report to and to be able to build that org chart from the hierarchical aspect point of view. Then we have more information pertaining to this person from the RAM point of view. They're casual and they're doing hourly $30. Sorry, the hourly rate is $30 per hour. And the start date, they started on that date. Then if we move randomly, I don't know, to then another position here vacant, we can see they've got a position vacant here. So it needs to have a mandatory to have a node ID. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can just put in their node ID, drag it through, let Excel complete it if it's not exported, come in part of your export or anything like that. But the reason we need a node ID, because if somebody is reporting to only if somebody is reporting to that vacant, meaning you've got a position that people report to and at the moment happen to be vacant and it needs to participate in that import, then it needs to have a node ID, because that's the only way we're able to say, well, someone is reporting to this node. We refer to the node ID when we're talking about the report to. So if we come to the report to here, you'll find that we're using the node ID in certain cases, report to node ID instead of name and last name and position, because that position happened to be vacant. Before I keep going, can I take any questions so far?
Yeah, we've got a question from Jane. So she's asked, how do you know what the node type, ID, and name should be? Is there a set list we would choose from, or do we make those up ourselves?
Perfect. The node type, let's start with the node type. This example here has got all the different node types, and there's only 5 of them. So for example, if I look in here, it's got the group node. We're going to explain the group node in a minute. It's got the position field, which is really 99% of all your data will be position filled. And if there's a position vacant, that's what it is. And the simple node, that is it. And that's why this sample data is so important. Once you've got, you go into your own account and go into the import and download the file, that's it. You've got all that in front of you. Does that answer your question about the node ID, the node type? The node IDs, they're not mandatory, as you can see, because I think that was part of your question. It's only mandatory if you have a position that is vacant. So this position here happened to be vacant. Maybe I should zoom a little bit here. This position happened to be vacant. You have to provide a node ID. To be honest, if it's vacant and happened to be sitting right at the bottom of the hierarchy, meaning what we call a leaf node, as opposed to being a node that someone reports to, then it doesn't require the node ID, to be honest. But nevertheless, you can just put any number in here if you don't have that something to know that links from your own legacy system or something like that.
Cool. Jane says yes, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions at this stage?
No, for now that's it so far.
I'm just gonna jump back.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No worries. Thank you, Lewis. All right. So, are you guys comfortable in terms of where you get this file from? This is available in your own account right now, that you can actually go in and pretend you want to do an import into your org chart and just go to that to this page that I was at, so you can just download the various files. And as I said, they are all the same. You start from beginning, intermediate. We just add a bit more nodes to it. We start with a beginner, maybe there's about 26 nodes. Then it goes into intermediate. We add maybe three more, and that's really it. So I've gone to the expert that contains all the different types of node that we want to let you make you aware of how to deal with it when you want to import that type of node. But really, 99% of your data is going to be that filled node, which will be part of the beginner anyway. So that's really important to know. Once you have this sample file, it really becomes very easy, because you're going to be able to import it. So let's have a look how you do that. So when you download it, you can actually upload it straight away. So just to make sure we're on the same page, this is empty. I've just gone into the import. I'm sorry, the org chart was supposed to click on. It's there. I just went into the import here. Import from Excel, and I clicked on import and I downloaded the expert. But now that I've downloaded it, I don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to upload it. I'm going to upload it as it is.
So, sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
of course.
So we have not so much a question from Darian, more a comment. He's saying he doesn't have this online and he's getting an error.
You don't have it, or you mean the error pertaining you don't have access to it? Is that what you mean by error, or what kind of error? What does
permission denied on the
Yeah.
position library?
Sure. Your account, forgive me, I'm so sorry. Probably what I said was wrong then. Thank you for the correction. We need to give you access to it. So what I suggest you do, so you're not able to download that file. I apologize. I've misled some of you with that, because some of you already use it and have access to it. Because as you know, the org chart is an additional module. You have to pay for on top of, for example, if you're paying at the moment only for what we call recruitment and onboarding, then to have access to the org chart, you got to pay. But we're more than happy to do the free trial with you. And as I said before, we're happy to create a brand new account for you, a sandbox that you can then have a play from there with. And clearly, we give you access to the org chart in that sandbox and leave it with you for a couple of weeks. And Chris and Lewis will be more than happy to help you with that, guys. So just let us know that you're interested, and we will work with you on that, what we call live trial. But yes, you're absolutely right. You can't access it at the moment. I apologize. Just let us know if you're interested. We'll create the sandbox for you, and you'll have access to all that. Okay, so I'm now want to upload that file that I've just downloaded as it is. As you know, we haven't made any changes to it. As it is, we call it V12. If you remember, we're just going to now select it, and it already processed it. It's super quick, and it's given me a summary of what the platform understands there was in the file. It's saying it's got 33 rows and 33 rows found, 18 unique position found. We'll explain what the unique positions mean, and 27 employees and 3 unique custom fields found. So we go, it's fine, import it then, and the import starts. If I click on the back, you can see now there's a new import in here, which is pending. It's got the start date, doesn't have the finish date, and the status, the number of rows not there yet. So you can just click on refresh, and it says started now. We have more information there. It takes, for this kind of data, it should take more than a minute. What I mean, a small data set. About 1,000 nodes will be imported in about 5 minutes. We've tried it with 180,000 nodes, and that took only about 2.5 hours. So that's done, finished. I'll just close this, and org chart refreshes, and that's what we've just imported. So let's take a look now side by side in the sense, that's the file here, 12, yeah. what actually happened. If we pick, from the org chart here, randomly, any of these folks here, for example, that's the one that we looked at before, by the way. Let's have a look at the Faculty of Music. This is an example of what we call a simple node. It's simply just a node that has a name. You can't have a person in here. You can't have a position name in here, just the name, what we call simple node. Some clients requested they would have that type of node. If you don't need it, you don't need it. Under this simple node called Faculty of Music, because, I don't want to mislead you, you shouldn't have to have a placeholder like that for a faculty or for, a department, a division. We have a better a more sophisticated solution for that. You have what we call a proper flag, a proper drop down that you can tag all the nodes with it, and it's part of what it is, so you can filter on all the nodes properly. And you shouldn't have to do that. This is just a choice that someone decided they want to have that. We don't even recommend that you do this with a simple node. Nevertheless, we've got this person here that Lavinia, that reports to the Faculty of Music, or part of it in this case. And then we've got a bunch of people that report to Lavinia. So if we look at Joel Henrik in here, and we go into the Excel spreadsheet, if I can just search maybe on Joel. That's Joel there. That's the information that we're provided about Joel. They report to that simple node, which is the head of music faculty. And they are part-time, and they are on the basis of 38 hours per week, their arrangement, and they are in the location. That's the what I was talking about before. This particular row in here, we have two custom fields in here that we created, which is, they're more than custom fields, what we call their pillars. So they're system fields that we recognize that you can pull. We make it part of reporting and dashboards and all that. So they are, we're providing those two extra pieces of information. And so let's have a look now.
Sorry, just before we move on, we just have another question from Yolanda. So she's asking, when you say filter, does this mean you can create or produce sub-org charts from one already imported? Or do you need to import a new org chart for a specific faculty, as an example?
No. If you think about it, all your data can be imported in one hit. However, so there's a couple of questions, a couple of points. Let me see if I can address them separately. A few points in your question. I'll try to uncover those questions one by one. If there is a need that you wanna do your imports, one at a time to be staged, and maybe you've got 4 divisions or 4 entities and you want to do them one at a time, you're able to do that. If I click on this here, go to admin, then if I do the import from here, which is there, that will import anything that I have in that spreadsheet under this node. So that's a feature that sort of, I can see part of your question, whether it's needed or not, though, for your question. I don't think it will be needed. Nevertheless, it can be quite useful to be able to do it like that in maybe multiple imports. You can, because when you're trying to create that data, maybe you give it to those head of divisions. Can you please make sure you give me the data clean for your department, kind of thing? I don't know. It's definitely a very useful feature. But when it comes to what I was talking about before with the filtering, okay, if you have a division, what you want is a proper flag, what we call the pillars. I'll explain to you what that is. If I go here, for example, Chris, is that the best way to look at what the pillars are? Yeah. I'm going to go to the pillars here, part of the admin. These are the pillars. So these are custom fields. You can think of them, but very powerful custom fields, because they are system custom fields that we know what they mean. So when you tag a node, whether it's a vacant position or whether it's a filled position or a simple position for this matter, but now let's talk about, the alternative to having that simple node that's called the name of the division. What you really, really want, whether you have that placeholder as the top of the pyramid for that division or not, you want every node to be tagged with that. So when you're doing things with this node, you're trying to recruit the employee that you finally is attached in there, all these records will be all tagged with that division. It's a lot more powerful. So these are what comes here by default, what we call the pillars, the key things. And then you can add your own custom fields anyway and tag, employees with it and tag positions with it. And then you'll be able to create filters based on those tags. That's really what I meant. Does that make sense? For example, with a location, if you look at the location, what we did, it's an incredibly powerful field. If I want to add a location here, why it seems like I can't add anything to it?
Click on new option.
Sorry, Bud?
Click on new option.
New
location.
What? Oh, the user interface is a little bit weird, guys. Sorry, we'll definitely clean it up a little bit. It just doesn't look like you can enter data in there, at least not to me anyway. So I'm going to enter a new location here. I'm going to call it head office. This name is just anything. It's just a name, yeah? But then when you go to the location, this is a proper geolocation that's attached to this entry here. So there's two properties to this entry, which is the name, just an arbitrary name, and a proper geophysical address. So I'll put in here 1 McLaren Street. Where I can't find it. 1 McLaren Street, North Sydney. I think I misspelled McLaren. I have a feeling.
MC.
Yeah, there's no A, sorry. 1 McLaren Street, North Sydney there. So that's the entry there. I'll add that, and you can add more and more entries in here. And that's how you'll be able to flag all your data. But that's what this import is about here. This location is actually that location, which is part of the system fields, the pillars. So when you're doing the import, you can either import data that belongs to the pillars or your own custom data as well. You can import, for example, as part of the import, it could be 100 columns. Any data that you've been tagging employees and vacant positions and whatever with, it can be imported here. We'll come back to this in a second. The two things I'd like to show you here in terms of what we've imported against this person. First of all, there's a proper search in here. So if I'm looking for Theodore, here it is. It shows me the name of the person, and it's a single node, and it's a music and performance artist, the position name. So I click on it, and then it zooms on it. So I'll show you if I'm here now in the org chart. If I go back and click on search on Theodore, here you go. It's auto completion, very, very quick. It shows me, it zooms, it centers on Theodore, but it collapses. It keeps things a bit simple here. If I want to open it up, I can click on that and it shows you everything around it. But it sort of centers initially on Theodore. So that's one thing I'll show you. The other one is in terms of the data that we imported, that RAM data. Do we have a field? So if I want to do now change of condition on Theodore, sorry, I'll go in here and I do change of condition. So let's say this is a month later or a few weeks later, you want to make updates to the employee record. It gives me the opportunity here to change who they report to. If that's a cross-boarding, they move into a different team. It's not the case. I'll just leave it as it is and go next. Select a form. Chris, are you able to log in? You need your laptop. We'll come back to that. If you grab your laptop to help me out with this.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and come back if you can. That would be amazing. I just need to have a change of condition form created in the account. I thought that I'd created it. We'll come back to that point. But what I was going to show you is when I go to do an update now, it's going to show me the current remuneration that Theodore is on, meaning this data here that we imported about the remuneration, it's all there, saved in the right place, saved against the employee in that position, because the same employee can be working in different positions, meaning they can exist in multiple nodes. Every time they exist in a node, that means they are conducting a certain role, meaning they are tagged with a particular position name or unique position name and reporting to a certain person, meaning they are part of a team and doing a certain position. And so speaking of that, if I go to the positions, that was empty, as you know, before we imported. Now it has all part of the import. 3 things happen. We import all the unique employees. So here they are. We import all the unique positions, and here they are. And then we connect them together with the org chart. And hence why it's a proper data architecture for single source of truth. So that's all your unique positions. What I mean by unique position, I think you guys understand this because you've been using it now, regardless the position library anyway. So if you have multiple boarding house manager or multiple recruitment officers, there's only one entry in the library here, one recruitment officer. However, in the org chart, you can have 100 recruitment officers. They're all tagged with the same unique position name. So therefore, when you are doing any work on the recruitment officer in terms of deciding that they should be, for example, how you want to pay them, but part of a band or part of an award or an enterprise agreement, etc. All that configuration work that you do it in one place as opposed to having to do it in multiple places. Also, you can attach a job description against this particular position, so it can be viewed by the managers, the execs, when they're approving things. But also, you can make that available automatically on the application form for candidates to be able to download the position. So that's why the position library is important to be very unique position library. I mean, by any means, your strategy could be that you need 3 recruitment officer roles because you want to distinguish between a junior and maybe mid-level and a senior. If that's your strategy, that's perfectly fine. But no matter what, those positions in here, they are unique. You will not have multiple of them. You have multiple employees tagged in the same unique position name, if that's what it is. You've got multiple people in that role. So that is very important also to understand. So to recap in here, when you're doing this import, it's very powerful in the sense that it's not just, a Joe reports to Anwar or Chris reports to Anwar. It's also information about the you can bring any data that you want with it, but in particular remuneration data. And therefore, you can immediately start to do the updates from using the change of condition flow work process. And we're doing a major update on the change of condition form, which we will show you in a minute. Chris just setting it up for me in this Sandbox account. We're making it simpler and easier to work with because we had feedback from clients that are using it. They're saying it's fantastic, but they feel some of their managers struggled with it a little bit. They want to make it more intuitive and only pertaining to the remuneration part. So we are cleaning that remuneration part, making it super easy to understand. We've been working on it for 4 weeks. We're taking that very, very seriously. We want it to become so easy for the manager to go, here's my employee, one of my employees. I want to put a request to give them pay rise, and the request can be either, have someone to approve it or not. You can have multiple people to approve it. Once it's approved, you're able to then make it effective on the effective date straight away, complete the process, or you could then draw a new contract and send it. Just like with the onboarding flow, similar thing, except that when you're submitting that request, you're submitting the final request, which is these are the changes I would like to make, and you'll see that in a minute, guys. So that's ready to go.
Just
Yep.
Before we move on,
Of course.
We just have another question
Yep.
from Belle. So she's asked, for example, if an organization with an existing org chart already uploaded previously has a major restructure, would it be better to redo the Excel spreadsheet and redo the import? And will the existing data in the org chart be overwritten with the data in the new import?
Now, the good news is you can do it in multiple ways, whichever works for you. If you want to structure it within the platform here, clearly you've got all the tools to do it. You can add a node, add multiple nodes. We've created a lot of tools for you to do the changes here. However, if it's easier to obtain an Excel spreadsheet, a fresh one that reflects all the changes, not a problem at all. Actually, we can demonstrate that. I will do the re-import in a minute. Yeah. But the way it works is if you've got an employee that exists already, we don't touch that record. Yeah. We keep the employees. If there's a new employee, we'll add them. If the position, same thing with the position library. If that position name is exactly there, we don't touch it. If there's a new position name, we'll add it. Yeah. And we created even, let's not go maybe into that level of details, but it's fantastic from that point of view. Now, from the org chart point of view, so all part of that import that you're redoing. Yeah. So we started talking about what happens to the employees, the positions. Now, from the org chart point of view, we rebuild it based on the new information that we have. Here's all the positions, unique positions. Here's the employees, and here's who they report to. And we rebuild the org chart. And that's why obtaining a sandbox is really important. So if this is something you want to do, talk to us. We'll create a new sandbox, and you can have a play by importing and importing again with adding a few more rows and changes some structure in that Excel spreadsheet, that sample data, and see what happens. But even you can import even the new file that you have, if you have it, into the sandbox, even make changes, import it again. That will give you that full confidence to understand what will happen. But it's definitely designed to be able to allow for what you want to do.
Cool. So, Belle, did that answer your question? Yep, cool. All good. We also have another question, sorry, from Rachel. So Rachel's asking if is there any other way to see the REM data from the import other than selecting the change / cross-boarding conditions? So change of conditions or cross-boarding.
I'm sorry, start again.
Okay, so is there any other way to view the REM data from the import other than selecting the conditions?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that in a sec. So just while I'm here, if I do the change of condition, I'll go next. That's the form that Chris just created for me called change of condition / cross-boarding. Continue, and it doesn't have the REM. Sorry, guys, just need to add the REM field to it. It takes 2 seconds, and I'll do it again. So I'll just cancel the process, and we'll do it again in 2 seconds. Chris is doing it now for us.
Do you want compare values?
And in terms of,
Do you want compare values?
Yes, of course, please.
Yeah, no, it's done.
Yeah. For the other stuff as well, the position name.
Yeah, it's all on.
Yeah, in terms of the compare value.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, mate. All right, so we're going to do this again, guys. Third time, lucky. Next, and here's the form. So what the change of condition form is telling us, this is the person that we're trying to make the changes to, and that's the report to. They report to this person, happen to be the CEO. That's the current position, you see in bracket, and that's on the right-hand side, what we call the proposed changes, if any. So we're not changing the position. We can change it if you want, if that's what the change is. Clearly, it's just that's your full access to the library, order completion, subject, teacher, etc. You can do that, but I'm going to put it back to the Director of Human Resources. So what we want to look at here is the REM data. So this is the current as well engagement, the 38 hours a week, and full-time equivalent is 0.8. It's not showing us the, sorry, let's have a look at the spreadsheet. And what we'll do, we'll click on copying this. So let's say we want to copy the existing information over, and then we can do the editing to it. But I wanted to see what was imported. What was the, the number of hours is 30. What's the rate? Was there a rate imported? Who was the person? I think we were working with the wrong person. I think we wanted to work on a different person. All right, let's have a look. It's all good. We'll check any of them. Who's got some REM data here? Numbers as in dollars. So that was the one we're supposed to do. This is another one here. Let's have a look at this one. Feliciano. Okay. We'll find it in search, Feliciana. Beautiful. There we go. Start change of condition. Next. Okay, here you go. We were looking at the wrong person. So this, what was it, by the way? It says common law. It's casual. Yeah, it's casual common law. What we mean by common law, it's not attached to any enterprise agreement or award system, any of the data you built in the award interpretation module that we have. It's just entered on the fly, and it's $40 an hour and it's casual. So I can copy this over and make any changes that I want. It copies exactly what they have, and I can go in here and say I want to change that $40 to be $45. Maximum yearly budget for the shop. With the casuals, this feature we're probably removing it soon. All it is because we want to be able to provide some kind of a bit of a cost to employment. How much, what's the total cost to all the employees that I've got in your org chart? If it's casual, we can't do it if you don't give us an idea of the budget. Look, I'm intending to spend maybe about $20,000 on this casual position over the next 12 months. That's really what that is. So nevertheless, we made the changes here. You can see they're highlighted in a different color, and it basically says it's $45 now is the final rate, and the budget is $20,000. The effective date for the change, I'll pick an effective date, which is it's from tomorrow. Provide an end date. We don't want an end date. It's casual, and that's it. So that's in this particular form. I can type a justification report, and I can send it for people to approve it. Or the way this is configured by default, you can send it without approval. So that's been submitted. The org chart reflects that. Change of condition is being approved because I've submitted without approval. So from here now, I can get access to the packs to send a new contract. I've got no packs, by the way, in this account. Or I can just complete the process, manually complete the process. That means it will then, at the effective date, that's now it's being completed. At the effective date, it will become changed. So that status will be removed because it becomes effective. And that's the effective date.
I'm not sure, Rachel, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I think her question was more just around if you're able to view the REM data without completing.
Yes. I'm definitely coming to that. Sorry. Absolutely. Cool. We can do it from here. I can go to the employee here. So what happens when you do the import? Against the employee, we have a work history tab, and you go to the position in here, and this shows you every single. So for example, because that was imported, that's the data here that belongs to that. Or is that because of the change of condition? So if we click on this here, it's showing us what was imported. Is that sorry guys, 1 second. Was that the person that we were doing? Yes. I don't know what's going on here. I'm really sorry, guys, but this is where you will see whether, because they've just completed their onboarding pack, there'll be an entry in here that will show you every single thing that was, including all the REM, or whether you make a change of condition, or whether during the import, which is what we just did, that record should reflect what was imported. I'm not really sure why that is not here, but I guarantee you that's how it will work, and it should work, and we'll make sure that's the case. I keep going back in there because I know I've used it a zillion times. I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. Nevertheless, from the org chart, what you can do also, which is probably more to your question, this is the record here. What we can do is we can customize this to be in terms of what you want to surface on the node. So if I go to here and click on info surfacing, I can decide to bring some that kind of information, the engagement information, the REM information. So I'll click on engagement, and I'll go into the employee remuneration. I could put in here, for example, the percentage of full-time, that's fine. Then I could go into this again, and I want the final rate, and I want also the final level, if any. But what's more important here is the full-time hours, let's say, and engage, minimum hours per week. Am I missing anything at the bottom here? Because of where let me just see, guys. I thought there was more stuff in there. Final level. No, okay, that's it. Let's have a look what happens here. So that's the information we just added in here. I'll just apply the changes. So the more thing is coming up here. Just give me a second. See that's the REM information here. The reason I'm confused is it's working for all of the nodes except for this one here that we wanted to look at, which is we made the changes to.
I think it was the other node. You were doing it under Feliciana, I think it was.
No, this is global. The change that we do,
Yeah.
Yes, we were. I'm so sorry.
Regine,
yeah, okay, we keep going back. So let's, I don't know why I got confused by the two. Okay, that's the one here. It doesn't have that more link, Joe, and the other nodes do. See, for example, if I go here to Justin, and you can see that it's $83,000 and everything, which is really what's in Excel spreadsheet. So if we look at Justin here in Excel, F Justin. There, that's Justin there. Go back to the right. That's the data that we imported, the $83,000, and it's all there. Go back to Justin here, click on the more, and that's it. That's the data there. So does that make sense in terms of to access this, you would customize what info you want to surface on the org chart, or you would go into the employer record. So if I go into Justin here, just intrigued now, if I go into the employer record and have a look what's in the position history, and I click on this, maybe we need to customize what fields we want to show in here. It's not coming up either. That's the engagement information. They're not coming up for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but that should all be showing here. And what we just did for now as an alternative to get this data out is to customize what we want to surface. The reason we did the more is, I'll explain to you what we just did with the surfacing. So if I go back and do the surfacing one more time, you're allowed to have 3 that will come up on the node. Anything else that you want to display will be available by clicking into the more. That allows you to have better access control to that information in case it's sensitive, because you can actually say this user, these kind of users cannot access the more. They can only see what's on the node, and you can have fairly non-sensitive information appearing on the node. So for example, if I decide to have, if I look at the spreadsheet in here, didn't we import the locations and divisions? I think the names weren't matching. That's why they didn't get imported in the against the. Okay, I'll explain one thing in here. This location pillar. It says location there. Is there anything we need to do that's different about to make sure it's associated with the pillar, Chris? Oh, we didn't have the data in there. We didn't have the Parramatta and Surrey Hills when we did the import. When you're importing things in a drop down like this custom fields here, the location, you need to have the data in there. So we had to have Parramatta and Surrey Hills and Sydney in the drop down as options in the pillars before the import can work. So what we can do, we can re-import it with that and have it go at it like that. So if I go here and I can create a new location called Parramatta, we'll just do one. Is that right? Parramatta, RRT? Yeah. And location here, we can just choose Parramatta. Perfect. And that will do. We'll just do this. And what was the other one? Anyway, I'll do it quickly. Parramatta and Surrey Hills. That means we'll get a lot of them in straight away. All right, that will do. Done. Okay, so if we do that, and I'm going to redo the import, which also shows you how redoing the import will work as well, guys. So I'll simply do the import again. Sorry, I need to download first the file from the cloud to the disk. I'll call it 13 instead of 12. Alrighty, so go back here and import, upload, choose 13. It confirmed how many rows.
You need to map.
Go back. I'll do it again. Wait for it to finish first. I'll explain to you guys. We forgot to do the mapping for those fields. One sec. You'll see what I mean. Wait for us to finish and we'll do it again. Perfect. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, this mapping here that Chris just made me aware of that I forgot to do. So you got the location. It's recognized all the custom fields that we have, and it's asking me to map it to which column.
Just search for it.
Sorry, location.
Position.
The lookup field, that one?
Yeah, that one.
The last one?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the let's not worry about this for now. We don't have the division created properly. We just map the location and let's do the import. It's just if you have a drop-down custom field, whether it's the pillars or your own custom field, and their drop-downs, you've got to have the drop-down created and have all the right options mapping properly compared to what you have in a spreadsheet. That's all. So now if we look in a spreadsheet, who's who, in terms of who's got also some salary information, this 81,000 here, who is that? And that's in Parramatta, it's a teacher, and it is Seatham. Okay, we'll look at that. Refresh, done, close it, and we'll look for, okay. It is, if I go into the more information, that's the 81,000. We don't have the location in here, so we'll go to the surfacing, and I want to make sure the location is actually on the card itself. So info surfacing and the location, this is a location. I'll add it, and I want to drag it to the top 3, meaning it's going to be on the card now. So hopefully we'll be able to see it without even going into the more. For that particular person anyway. Not everybody had the location mapped for them. Here you go, Parramatta. So when you're customizing the info surfacing, you have 3 fields. So if I go back now to the surfacing, 3 fields. Oh, wrong selection. Info surfacing. These top here, that top section, it says display on the node, and this one display on the more pop-up. You can have as many as you want in here. And the interesting thing about this, you can make sure that only certain users are allowed to click on the more. So maybe you put the salary information, stuff like that inside the more, and that will be part of that data segregation and use the access that we create for you for, managers to be able to only see their own data, that kind of thing, their own employees. And it gives you that flexibility having that more in there. It's really cool. So it's quick access, but it's actually, secured in terms of who can access it and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So in terms of what we just did, I've redone the import, and we part of the import, we mapped to a custom field, happened to be a very important field, which is the pillars. And that's why that data is all there now. And the data is coming up on the nodes whenever it's there. And if you go into the more, you'll see the rest of the information that I've decided I want to have here.
Fantastic. So we've just got a couple more questions. If we could move through them, that would be great. So we have a question just around custom access. So this is from Jane. So she's asking which users will have access to view the org chart. Will
Sure.
all users of Martian be able
Sure.
to view it, or only admins? So
Sure.
just around how to set up that kind of
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so many options. I just want to start with one thing. You can actually say, I want the whole org chart. I want to have a view only version of it, interactive, but view only on my, for example, intranet. You can share it. So when you click on this node, I happen to click the very top. That means I want everything. And you can click here on the share. Where is the share, guys? Share, right? Click on the share. And it says you want to generate a link. It gives you an embedded code that you can put on your intranet, or it gives you a URL. That means if you click just here, it copies it into the, click on this. It copies it into the buffer. Then I can go to an email and send an email to someone, and then they can click on it and they can see the org chart. However, with the sharing, we do not allow the more to be available, nor any of these functions. So it's really read only, and they can see whatever you surfaced here. But it's interactive. They can do exactly what I'm doing here. Zoom and close and create, the perfect view and take screenshots. And if they are trying to do a tender or something, they want an org chart, they can just build it the way they want to build it. But it's secure because they can't drill into it. They can't go into the employee record, for example, and all that good stuff. They can't even go into the more, as I said. So that's one option that's really powerful, sharing. And as I said, it can be, you might want to share only this tree here, this branch of the tree. So you click on this and click the share. It's going to share this node and everything underneath it. So that's one option. The access control, we can build it the way you want to build it. You can have, as you know, the platform for us, for corporate clients, which is all of you guys on this call. We don't really have too many agency businesses anymore. It's not a market that we go after at all. For all our corporate clients, the business model, the commercial model is unlimited users for that size kind of company. So if you are, 1,000 to 1,250, that's how much you pay, and that is it. That means all your managers can come in and they can then do only certain things. For example, you want the manager to be able to come here. They can only go into the employees that they live under their hierarchy, for example. Or it can be, again, why those pillars are important. If to make sure every candidate, every employee is tagged with those pillars, you can even rename these pillars if you want and stuff like that, and even create your own custom fields, as I said. But nevertheless, what you'll be able to do, you'll be able to create special access control based on these divisions. I want this person to access people in this division and in this department or in this team, and any combination of that Boolean, and then that will just work like that.
Perfect.
So we can create, talk to us, whatever your requirements are, we'll make it work.
Fantastic. So Jane's also asked, is that link, the one that you showed before to share the org chart, is that live regardless of when you click on it, or is it just a point in time?
You mean, does it expire?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's do this one more time. We changed our mind on that question in terms of how it's working. I want to make sure I'm not misleading you. I'm going to go there. What happens is it stays there until you deactivate it. So if I come back here now, I'm going to do this one more time. Come back to this particular, the link is there. and then I can deactivate it if you wanted to, and that's when it becomes not accessible.
Perfect. Awesome. So we also have some questions from Renee and Jane again, actually, just regarding the export of the org chart. I think more maybe a share instead of export. So
Sure.
Renee's asking, can you export sections of the org chart?
Yep.
For an example, a division or department. And Jane's
Yep.
also said she has the same question. The export button only shows
Beautiful.
the current page, not the whole chart.
The exports, okay. So I'm just trying to remember with the export, there's two kind of exports. The export here is, I don't like it, to be honest, personally. I don't know why it's there, but the reason it's basically a PDF, and it's going to show you what you've seen here on the screen. But I mean, you can take a screenshot yourself and do a better probably job than what it does. I don't really know why, because the reason I'm critical of it, what's the purpose of having a PDF that's got, let's say, 10,000 nodes in it? I mean, what are you going to do with that? And how many of those do you think we can put on one page in that PDF? How do you think we're going to make any sense of a visual entity, a visual object like an org chart in a PDF when it's pages? I mean, what's really the point of it? But nevertheless, play with the export to the PDF here, if you like. But the export itself as Excel is very, very powerful. And yes, you're right. It's where you started from. So when you click on the export, you're able to have a couple of options here as well. First of all, it's going to be emailed to you. And then you can say employee position or unique employee only. Can't remember what the difference is, but I mean, why we did that. But nevertheless, and then you click on the export and it's going to send an email. Only exporting employees under blah, blah, blah. Error has been export. Yeah, sorry. That's the email. I'm logged on here to this email there. Your org chart import. These are emails about the import. We send you an email when the import's completed. In case you're doing, say, 5,000 nodes, it might take 30 minutes, so we send you an email. Nevertheless, that's the export here. What's the default program I've got installed? Oh my God, I've got, okay, I'll just open it here. I'll do a new spreadsheet. Import, open, upload, browse, employees. So that's what we've just, the export that we did. We're just going to take a look at it in Google Sheets. Yep. Name, last name, email, work email, position ID, position name. That's the option that we ticked or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any feedback about, what we talked about in terms of, if someone says to you, oh, we're working on tender and we would like a org chart or something. I mean, you're a 500 people employee. So what does that mean? They want to have an org chart within the tender. It's only an A4 page. That's all they have for that. So what do they want to have in there? Do they want everyone? It's not possible. So what you can do, give them a share the link with them and let them massage it themselves, which one they want to collapse. And if they want this to be horizontal versus vertical, as you know, that's an option. How do you do that, guys? Oh, sorry, from the, not from here. When you tick on it there, you click on this. So it makes these vertical versus horizontal for that node, or you can do it universally from there. That's the a node direction that does it for the entire thing. But then you can go and override. And that's what I mean. They can do all that and then take a screenshot, because clearly they can go like this and have as many as they want shown. And then they go, yeah, that's perfect. That's what we want. And then they can take a screenshot and then include it in their tender. I just don't really know what that PDF is going to do better than.
I think Jane said she wasn't aware of the share link and she agrees it is much better. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
But
That's great.
Also, sorry, Renee, did that kind of answer your question as well, just from your perspective? Just give me a second.
Of course.
Yep, she goes, that's fine. Cool. No worries. Cool.
Awesome. Any feedback, guys? Any suggestions? Anything that you believe I'm not asking feedback about the webinar because I did a terrible job. I don't think you need to bother, but even go in there because I know the answer. But yeah, on a serious note, any feedback about the features, the import, anything to do with the org chart that you've seen, or any questions about the org chart itself? We haven't really gone into the functionality of the org chart much, to be honest. We're only trying to focus on the import and where that data goes and how you can access it in a sense. But any question at all, I still have at least 10 minutes. So by any means, feedback / questions.
Also, guys, we do have a poll up as well. We've already got some answers. If you haven't seen it already, are you currently using our org chart module? Bell says, thanks, Anwar. As always, very informative. Appreciate all your knowledge and help.
You're absolutely welcome. I could have been a bit more smoother today, but we got there somehow.
Lot to get to.
Yeah. Working with data is always a bit.
For sure.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? Anything at all? Any feedback to support? We've got Chris with us. If you have any feedback about support, about the way we do support or how it works, anything whatsoever, Chris would love to hear that right now, and myself. If you want to complain about Chris to me, don't do it now. Please wait till after this. Call me or send me an email.
His head's on the chopping block.
No, he's doing a great job. Proud of you, Chris. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, I don't think we have any more questions.
Okay, we're all good then. Guys, I'm very grateful for your time. It's a pleasure to have done this, and thank you for your time. And the next webinar we're going to advertise very soon is going to be about do you remember I've mentioned how we're polishing how we display the remuneration information, especially when it's coming from, say, an enterprise agreement, and how it's displayed on the requisition, and how the managers interact with it when they're submitting a requisition, how the approver sees that information, and even when you're making an offer, how then you're saying, okay, that's the level I want to now offer this particular person. But by the way, I want to override that. I want to pay above the award level. I want to pay $5 more an hour, whatever it is, and then how that flows into the contract, how we deal with all that REM and the award interpretation and all that. We're repolishing all this to make it easier, even more easier to for the managers to work with. HR folks, you can always work with it, guys. You understand that stuff, but a lot of managers don't have that knowledge, and they're good at what they do, which is whatever the line of business is. When it comes to HR data and awards and whatever, they can just get confused and make wrong decisions, or just say, I can't use this, it's too complex for me. So we don't want that. If you are one of these companies that you would like the managers to adopt more and more of a self-service for them to be able to submit those recs, but also make a change of conditions, for example, initiate offboarding, well, we need those forms to be really then another level of intuitiveness as opposed to an HR person level of intuitiveness.
Yeah, guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you do want to register for that, before you jump off, there's a little button in the bottom left corner of your screen. It should be.
You can register now.
Yeah,
Thanks,
so it'll just have a little bit of info about that, when it is, and so it'll be same time in 2 weeks from now. And if you click register, it should take you to a page to register for that.
Thank you, Joe. Perfect. I didn't realize what that was. Eddie was trying to grab my attention about it, but I don't think I understood what you meant. And we'll send the invite anyway to everyone. If you guys are good, no more questions, thank you very much and have an awesome day. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye for now, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.